Tuvies, it's Psychic Bob. Well, here we are. It's UFO Friday. How you like my new light? Can you guys see me? I just got the new. It's called the ring light, and it's for professional photography and video work. And anyways, I'll show you a picture at the end of the video. But I got a new light, and hopefully you guys can see me. And I am so excited to be here with you guys. Well, welcome. And, for a lot of you new people, by the way, we got a lot of new subscribers. I want to say thank you to all of you who joined Spirit Channel. If you're watching and you haven't joined, don't want to miss out, hit that subscribe, be part of our scene. Well, welcome to the newbies. And for those of you who are new here, every Friday we do UFO Friday. And we talk about some mystical and paranormal element connected with aliens and UFOs. And today I had a subject that I wanted to come here and talk about. It's one that has always been a fascination to me because I've actually met people who have been to this location where this famous sighting occurred. What I'm talking about is the sightings of Mothman. Have you guys heard of Mothman? If you don't know Mothman, Mothman is an alien creature that was seen back in the 1960s. And this all occurred in a small little town in West Virginia called Point Pleasant, West Virginia. And very, very fascinating. Basically, the tale goes, it was around December of 1967 November of 1966. Can't get my dates right. November of 1966. Some people were out, a set of two couples going down a road in Point Pleasant. I guess he'd been out to dinner or bowling and maybe a movie, but they were basically coming home. And as they were coming down one of the roads in Point Pleasant, a giant creature jumped in front of their car. Now, this was just no ordinary person. It was actually a humanoid. It was shaped like a human, like a man, but its face was like a bird, and it had giant red eyes. And then they noticed that the creature had wings on the back that were similar to kind of a moth-type wings. Hence, this is where the name Mothman came from. Well, the people that saw it in front of the car were shocked, and the creature literally took off in the air and flew over the car. About terrified everybody. Now, this would have been just a case of people imagining things, I suppose, but this happened several times to many other people. It seemed that Mothman was a regular visitor in the town of Point Pleasant. Many people saw the creature, and the sightings went on from November of 1966 to December of 1967, so a little over a year. And what's interesting is that everybody who had an encounter with the creature said that it would glare at them with these red eyes. It's almost like the red eyes were evil and it would burn into them. There was one man, and I don't have the name here, but I'll have to research it further. But I believe there was one man who actually had his eyes damaged. When people would look into the eyes of the Mothman, this light, it was almost like a laser light, would come out of the eyes. And one man actually had vision damage from looking into the eyes of the Mothman. So the Mothman's presence became one of kind of mystery and terror because this creature was not particularly friendly. People that encountered it said it had an evil feeling, a menacing feeling, as if it was hostile. And it was seen regularly in, flying over areas of the town. There's a movie out that I really encourage you to see. It's called The Mothman Prophecies. And it came out in 2002 as a film. Richard Gere starred in it. And he's like an investigator checking out the stories of Mothman. And it's based on the true story. But what's interesting is the way they describe it in the movie and in the book is that Mothman was about 7 or 8 feet tall, massive, and he was very strong looking, like muscular. But his wings on his back would flare out, and they were like that of a moth. That's, again how he became known as Mothman. But his face looked very bird-like. And some people would say, we saw a Birdman. Some people called him the Birdman. But ultimately, he became known as the Mothman. They would say that when he would fly over, there was a weird sound, like when his wings would move, almost like a humming sound. And so a lot of people were terrorized and traumatized by this. During that period in I believe it was in 67, they had a bridge, an old bridge that crossed the river in Point Pleasant, and the bridge collapsed, and a number of people died. Now, what's very interesting is right before that collapse, many people claim to have seen the Mothman at or around that bridge area. So some people have said that the Mothman created the collapse of the bridge. Now, there's another side of that story, because in the movie that Richard Gere's in, Richard Gere starts having visions in his dreams of the Mothman, and he sees like flashes of vision of the bridge collapsing. And a lot of people are speculating maybe Mothman came to give premonition, to warn the people about the bridge collapse. So maybe he wasn't evil. But Mothman was not around when the collapse happened. He didn't stop and he didn't jump in to save people. So a lot of people tend to have a negative view of Mothman. Interestingly, the Mothman visions became so well known in Point Pleasant that it's kind of been forever connected with the town. In the year, it was in 2002, they started holding the annual Mothman Festival. And they have this every year in Point Pleasant. You can go to it. And they basically have a parade that has Mothman in it. And they have various speakers throughout the day that come and discuss ufology, cryptozoology, all of this. Now, what's very interesting is the people in the UFO community are saying that they believe that Mothman is an alien of some sort. Cryptozoologists also speculate that this creature is not of this world, that it has a paranormal origin. From what I've heard from people that had encounters with Mothman, as I said, the encounters feel very terrifying, very negative. Mothman's overall demeanor was not one of friendliness, almost aggressive or hostile. The way he would approach people or fly over their cars and intimidate them. So he didn't come off as friendly. And if the people having eye damage from his eyes, that's a whole nother issue. But the thing that's interesting about Mothman is there are a few different theories. As I said, one is that he is an alien creature from another world. I would say that if he is an alien creature, he's more of like a lower level being, because he does not seem to have the ability to connect with people and have conversations. Which leads me to another point, because many people have asked me about Bigfoot, and is Bigfoot an alien? And I actually did a previous video, which I'll put a link below to my Bigfoot video. But I said back in that video that I believe that Bigfoot is a creature that is, in a sense, one that escaped from the aliens. You know, on our planet, how we have animals that we take care of, like we take care of cattle and horses and dogs and cats. Well, I believe that the aliens also take care of animals. And I think Mothman would be a lesser intelligent creature, more like a pet to the aliens. Now, there's a second theory about Mothman, which is actually very, very interesting as well. Some people have speculated that Mothman is an entity conjured from the spirit world, from the astral plane. It has been reported that in West Virginia, there are secret groups. There were, I don't know if they still are, but there were at that time secret groups that were meeting to do occult rituals, to conjure beings to visible appearance. For those of you who have studied ceremonial magic, you know that there is a ritual called evocation to physical appearance. It's believed that it may be possible that an occult group actually brought up Mothman from some spiritual realm, that he may not be of this world or any world in the material plane, but may be a spiritual being conjured. You know, if so, I have to tell you, from the pictures I've seen of Mothman, he looks very demonic. So I could put some credibility in that theory. But anyways, cryptozoologists and ufologists all are in agreement that Mothman is not a creature of the earth. He's not a byproduct of evolution, that he clearly comes from a different world, or as some occultists say, a different dimension. So whatever way you go with that, the fact remains that he is a creature of fascination. From what I've heard, after 1967, Mothman was no longer sighted in Point Pleasant. So I haven't heard of any more recent sightings. And, I'm curious, are any of you watching, are you from West Virginia? Do you know about Point Pleasant? Or maybe you've just been to Point Pleasant and learned about it. I'd love to hear your thoughts. But as I said, either way, whether he is an alien or a spirit being, certainly something to think about. Now, I have heard through the UFO community that people or creatures that look like the Mothman have been sighted in other areas of the country and of the world. I believe there was a sighting down, I think it was in Brazil, of the Mothman several years ago. And also he's been seen in other areas of the United States, particularly down towards the southern regions like Georgia, I believe, and possibly he's in Mississippi or Alabama. So, there are reports that come in from different places around the world where supposedly he is seen. So, this again opens the question, is there more than one Mothman? Are there many Mothmen or moth people? And is he a creature that is, or is he really a creature that is able to transport himself against time and place? Could he either fly through his wings? Because people have seen him, said he could fly. So maybe he's flying around to different places. Or maybe he has the ability to walk between dimensions, similar to the aliens, and go from place to place through dimensional portals or wormholes. I think this is a fascinating case, and I'm going to be doing more research into it. In fact, there's a book out about the Mothman that you can get called Mothman Prophecies. It's more of a biographical thing, but the film, the Mothman Prophecies movie, is based on it. So I would encourage you, check out the film, check out the book, do your own exploration. I'm thinking about taking a trip to Point Pleasant because I would like to go and see the bridge that collapsed, or at least that area. It was rebuilt, and see, what the local residents have. I think that there's a lot more to it than what we really know. But I can tell you as a psychic that I do believe this is a real experience. I do not believe that people claiming the sightings are making up hoaxes or fraud. Many of them were actually very traumatized by the sighting of Mothman. And so to me, that gives a lot of credence to the fact that this is a real experience. And I can tell you, as I said in my Bigfoot video, there are creatures that have been loosed upon the world by the aliens. This may be one of them, or again, it may be an occult manifestation from a ritual. Either way, it's certainly interesting. And, of all the creatures, I'm not quite sure I want to tangle with Mothman. He sounds a little scary. But then again, many people interpret things through the lens of fear. And, I think even with the Mothman, we have to step back and be objective and study it before we make a judgment. But it does have me intrigued, I must say that. So anyways, guys, I just want to talk about Mothman. Are you guys familiar with Mothman? Have you ever seen the Mothman movie? What have you heard? Maybe you've had a sighting. I'd love to hear that. Maybe you've been to Point Pleasant and learned about it there. Share with me in the box below your experiences, your comments, your thoughts. And, let me know what you think about it. Oh, and also tell me, do you like my new lighting here? Do you like my high definition camera? Is this how you like to see Psychic Bob? Is it better for you? Anyways, I'm trying to get away from the webcam because it's kind of fuzzy and blurry and low pixelation. So we're trying to up it here at Spirit Channel and make it nicer. Also, by the way, before we get off of here, also want to tell you, if you didn't see yesterday's video, definitely check that out. I took a tour of Old Town Alexandria around my office, and just kind of spent a day looking at the trees and the sky and the buildings. And it was a very laid-back video, but I think that you'll get a lot out of it and enjoy it. And the day before that, we had a video all about working with the pentagram or pentacles, like you see here on my wall. So definitely check out those videos, and I think you'll have a lot to watch if you haven't had time to do that. You guys are the best. I am so glad you're here. Thanks for being here today. Tomorrow we got another wonderful video. We're going to have our Saturday night seance, so you don't want to miss it, so make sure to be here. You guys are the best. I love you. Sending you my blessings. Keep it here at Spirit Channel. We got more coming. And by the way, help me out. Like this video, favorite it, share it with your friends, and hit subscribe, be part of our scene. And if you get a chance, pop over to my website and pick out my books. Messages from Rose is over there. Psychic Bob's Book of Wiccan Wisdom is over there. So there's a lot of reading material. I have a bookstore, and there are more books than that. These are just the ones I have on my table today. But check them out and, learn about the spiritual life. You guys are the best. I love you. Thanks for being here. Keep it here at Spirit Channel. Again, we'll see you tomorrow for the Saturday Night Seance. I can't talk today. And until then, may you always blessed be.